The United States, a country that claims to be the champion of democracy, but has historical records that show that Washington has meddled in political affairs of dozens of countries, including many democracies. An egregious example occurred in Ukraine during the Euromaidan Revolution of 2014. Hello viewers, you're welcome to Noah Way. In 2010, a pro-Russian democratically elected Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych was not an admirable character. After his election in 2010, he used patronage and other instruments of state power to the advantage of his political party. That behavior alienated large portions of Ukraine's population as the Ukrainian economy languished and fell further and further behind those of Poland and other Eastern European neighbors that had implemented significant market-oriented reforms. When he rejected the European Union's terms for an association agreement in late 2013 in favor of the Russian offer, this was the genesis of the whole issue. The angry demonstrators filled Kiev's Independence Square known as the Maidan and sites in other cities. Despite his leadership defects and character flaws, Yanukovych has been duly elected in balloting that international observers considered reasonably free and fair, about the best standard one can hope for outside the mature Western democracies. A decent respect for democratic institutions and procedure meant that he ought to be able to serve out his lawful term as president, which would have ended in 2016. But neither the domestic opposition nor Washington and its European Union allies behaved in that fashion. Instead, Western leaders made it clear that they supported the efforts of demonstrators to force Yanukovych to reverse course and approve the EU agreement, or, if he would not do so, to remove him from power before his term expires. Even Russian intelligence intercepted and leaked to the international media a telephone call discussing details of the then Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and a U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Geoffrey Pyatt, in regards to their preferences for specific personnel in a post-Yanukovych government. The U.S. favored candidates include Arseniy Yatsenyuk, the man who became prime minister after Yanukovych was ousted from power. During the telephone call, Nuland stated enthusiastically that Yats is the guy who will do the best job. In 2014, the America's plans of changing power in Ukraine was successfully executed, an action that unseated a democratically elected pro-Russian Ukrainian president and replaced with a pro-American or Western candidate. So this Washington's action was rejected by the Eastern Ukrainian, that is, the Donbas region, who are ethnic Russian speakers, and so led to the country's conflict or civil war between the Ukrainian government and the Eastern Ukrainian separatists. The Americas' installed government was backed and armed by America and its European Union allies, while the Donbas separatists were backed and armed by Russia with the intention of becoming independent sovereignty or reuniting with Russia, since Ukraine is no more a democratic nation as it is under the control of the Washington. And so this led to the persecution of the Donbas region by the Americas' installed government. And here is a short coverage by the BBC then.
Скажите, а вот чем вам не нравится Европа?
Гендерный фашизм, гомосексуальные браки, это может и нравиться. Вы хотите вот с этой женщиной жить?
Вы хотите в Европу? Вперед. Мы хотим к России или сами жить. Это наше право. Понимаете?
One of the organizers I've just been speaking to off camera was telling me that they're disappointed with Russia and that armed people who are inside that building are actually feeling slightly abandoned. They've got a real dilemma here because on one hand they're clearly not feeling as backed as they wanted to be. At the same time they're saying that they don't trust Kiev and that there is no way back from where they are now.
They have to feel a little bit guilty about it because they don't do what they should be doing.
Only together, America and EU, Only together we can stop the war.
Because I really believe that President Putin would like to do something. I really hope that you and President Putin get together and can solve your problem. That would be a tremendous achievement.
So you see, this current war would have long escalated, but the exit of the then American President Barack Obama kept everything pending, as his successor, Donald Trump, wasn't in the same game plan as Obama, so he could relate in harmony with the Russian President, Vladimir Putin. So the reinstatement of the Obama's extension, Joe Biden, who was then Obama's vice, triggers the unfinished business. And the best way America and its European allies can defend the undemocratic system they have installed in Ukraine is by admitting Ukraine into the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, which will deter Russia from backing the Eastern separatists, because if Ukraine ever gains NATO's membership, Russia alone cannot fight the whole NATO members, as an attack on one member state is an attack on all. In January 2022, a month before the war began, the Biden administration insists it will not allow Moscow to quash Ukraine's ambition to join NATO, though it has no immediate plan to help bring the former Soviet Republic into the alliance, coupled with the militarization of Ukraine by America, which is a heavy threat to neighboring Russia. That only prompted the Russian president requesting America to officially state that Ukraine can never be a NATO state, but America's response was no immediate plan, meaning it will, an answer that wasn't sufficient for the Russians. That is, if not at the moment, then when? Everyone deserves security, so the Russian president ordered a special military operation in Ukraine with the aim of demilitarizing all the deadly NATO's installed ammunition in Ukraine, which is a heavy threat to the Russia, who can never be allowed also to gain NATO's membership. Instead, America backed the Ukrainian government to resist the Russians and fight back endlessly till the Russian surrenders or back off, which is what led us to the current situation, the Russia-Ukraine war. So above all, do you think this war was unprovoked? And again, is this war indeed for the sake of the common Ukrainians, or is it about who will be the boss between the US and Russia? Some experts are already saying America giving up on this Ukraine war is a defeat to its global dominance, as other countries that will demand protection will see Russia as an alternative source of global power and not just the US only. Meanwhile, Russia at the moment has defeated all the America's economic war machines, only left for it to defeat it fully in the battlefield of Ukraine. And as we know, where two elephants fight, the ground suffers. This war should be a lesson to any nation that will ever again volunteer to be used as a battlefield like Ukraine for the two great global powers. Thanks for stopping by. Some of the sources of this information are stated below, and don't forget to follow this channel. See you soon. Bye bye.